Hello, beautiful people. In the shadow of ash trees and long-forgotten battles, Bramblemead Valley is slowly awakening. What was once a shattered remnant of the past is beginning to bloom again. Stone by stone, story by story. Today, we're rebuilding the very first structure in our valley, a humble ruin that's about to become a cozy cottage, and the first real sign of life returning to the Dragonwilds. So go ahead and sit back, relax, maybe grab yourself a snack, and let's write our first story together. Now, like any good HGTV show, this project begins with some good old-fashioned demolition. That's right, guys, it's demo day. But we're not talking about the ruins. Before I get started, I have to take down the first non-cube shack that I built because I want to reuse the resources. I like this house, it's very manor-esque, but I'd rather use the materials for rebuilding the valley because I'm going to have to farm a metric crap ton of oak, so every log counts. Okay, that's done. It was a little sad to see it go, but that's okay. I think it's for a good cause. I would love to have a few spots where there's a better concentration of oak trees. It would be great for farming, and I mean, it's also super satisfying to use the actual projection and splinter spells to take on a bunch of hardwood at the same time. Anyways. I ended up finding a spot just outside of the playable area that I could break into, and I got a bunch of oak from there, and it honestly wasn't that bad. Yeah, so to me, looking at the ruins in Bramblemead Valley, I think that it seems like it used to be a cozy, quaint little village, and I've decided that I want to restore it to what I think is its former glory. This is kind of cool because two people could look at the same footprint and make something completely different. I love being creative and using my imagination, and I also wanted to get more familiar with the building materials and see just how many unique houses I could create. Deciding which house to start with was honestly pretty easy. At first I wanted to start with the first big building closest to the bridge, but it was a little intimidating because of how it's positioned. It's kind of slanted and I wasn't really ready to take that on yet. So instead, I decided to start here. It's a simple rectangular building. I like to think of it as a bit of a confidence booster. I'm probably going to start with some easier ones before I tackle a more challenging ruin. I do hope that eventually we get more building materials because I think the two that we have look really nice. They don't look out of place like some buildings do in other games. They fit into the world aesthetically very well, but it would be cool to have some variation, especially because we have like the shack, which is the ash logs, and then we have like the nicer looking oak logs. So it'd be cool to have some nicer looking building material options just for variety. My thought process going into this was to try and fit into the original footprint of the ruin as best as I could. But I didn't want to limit my creativity, so I tried to stay true to the original shape of the building, but also allowing myself to go out of the box just a tiny bit. It wasn't clear where all of the windows once were. You can kind of see one here where there was a window, so I wanted to make sure that I had a good mixture of windows and non-windows. And I put the door facing the street because in my mind that just made sense. You can see a little dirt pathway leading up to the ruins as if there were two doors, one on the front and one on the side. Well, what will be this side in my build? So I did end up adding a few doors. And one thing that I learned that helped me a lot after many trips back and forth was to put a little construction chest by my build so that I didn't have to make a million trips back to my main base. Now, the way that I like to approach building is to go in without a plan, no rhyme or reason, just start doing stuff and see what feels right in the space. So I got up my little square and I didn't feel like it was right. Something was off. I didn't like the way the ruins were sitting in the new construction. So I tore it down and ended up using half walls instead of full walls. And that allowed me to get the new construction a little more over the ruins. And I think it blends in a lot better after I made those changes. I do that a lot when I'm building. I build a whole thing and then I don't like something about it and I take it down. If I had gone in with a plan, that wouldn't happen, but it's a whole process and I like to trust it. And if you're wondering why I'm not using the Eye of Oculus all the time, it's because sometimes it's more comfortable to build without it, especially when you're doing the ground level of a house. But I do make a conscious effort to try and get into the eye more often so that you can see what I'm doing better. It just doesn't always happen, I'm sorry. And you know what they say, let no good deed go unpunished. As soon as I got into the Eye of Oculus, the dragon attacks. That's okay. We come back and we keep going. It is a little funny how you, spoiler alert, slay the dragon and then the dragon continues to attack you. Anyways, after our minor inconvenience, we're back at it. I ended up having to raise the foundations because I built the house a little too tall. But you know, like I said, it's a whole creative process that I don't like to plan in advance. I like to let the building speak to me. And what it said was I need to make my floors higher. Now, it's time to get to the roof. I am notoriously bad at building roofs. You ever build the perfect base, like walls? Check. Windows? Check. Cozy little fireplace? Check. And then it comes, the final boss of building, the roof. And I don't want you to come after me for how I say roof either. It is what it is. I don't know, man. For me, roofs in survival games are like that one math test in high school. You think you get it until you're halfway through and it falls apart. Literally. Why are the angles so hard to get, and why are there 12 different pieces that almost fit but don't ever quite match up? A lot of the times, I don't even really build roofs anymore, or there's holes in them. We can call it modern minimalist. Function over form, and you know what? Rain builds character. But because I'm trying to do this justice, I worked really hard to make sure that there wasn't a skylight in my roof. And honestly, I kind of like how it came out in a weird way. It's a little funky, it's a little wonky. And if this was real life, it would definitely collect rain on top of the building and eventually collapse on itself. But you know what? This is not real life, so it does not matter if my roof is flat. It looks cool, and that's all that matters. At this point, I'm looking at it and trying to figure out if it's done and I should start decorating or if I need to add anything else to it. It looks a little plain, a little too plain. I know I wanted this one to be simple, but this is a little too simple. And when I don't know what to do next, I start adding lights. Lights, you can never go wrong adding lights. And one of my friends came over to say hi. Don't worry about his name, there's nothing wrong. You know, we try not to judge people here, and whatever he's into in the comfort of his own home, honestly, is his business. But we do have a healthy number of people eaters in our communities, so that's a thing. Anyways, now we're at the part where I start making the house look like a home. It's not quite done being built yet, but I didn't know it at this point. I wasn't quite sure still. I was on the fence, so when I'm on the fence, before building more, I just start decorating what I already have to see if it kind of makes it make sense. I like all the little decorations and knickknacks that you can put in a house, although some of them are a little wonky. Like, I wasn't able to put a bowl of fruit on the table, it would only go on a chair or the floor. So, you know, there's a few kinks in the system that maybe need to get worked out. But I think everything looks really good overall. So after decorating the inside, I finally had some clarity and I decided that it wasn't done. It was missing a little something. I didn't like that it was just a plain building with no features. So I went ahead and I put 2 additions on the side at the ground level, just to give it some depth and different layers and make it a little more visually interesting. I didn't put too much decorations in the side just because no one's really going to be going in here at all. I kind of just wanted to get the main space looking like maybe someone could live there. But I think that the addition of the side pieces really made this building look nice. It's quaint, it's not supposed to be something extravagant. I don't know, I'd like to imagine that maybe the sides, the additions are where they store their crafting stations. Perhaps it's a couple with kids and they put them outside in the rooms there because they want some privacy in the main home. Who knows? Stepping back to admire it, I think it's looking pretty good. It's exactly what I wanted. Something that fits into the space, that looks like it belongs there, but that's also a little bit interesting and not super basic. So that means it's time to keep decorating. At this point, I'm just adding finishing touches and little details to make the house become a home. And that's it. This is where it ended up. I think it looks pretty good. I think it looks great, actually, considering where it started. You can't even tell that it used to be ruins, but if you go inside, you can still see that they're there. Except for here in the back. There you can tell there was ruins. I didn't want it to erase the ruins. I wanted to build in them and live within them. And I think I accomplished that goal. It looks like it belongs here, and I think that there's a chance that this is the kind of house that could have been here in the valley before the dragon took over. Bit by bit, the old bones of this place took shape again. A fireplace for warmth, a window for light, a roof for shelter, and before long, we have a home. Not just for us, but for the spirit of Bramblemead. This cottage is more than stone and wood, it's hope. The first light in a valley long shrouded in shadow. And this is only the beginning. One building down, an entire valley to go. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. Whether you're building your own cottage or exploring the vast world of RuneScape Dragonwilds, remember that every creation tells a story. Until next time, happy adventuring. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share, but most importantly, be kind to one another. See you next time, friends!